Alright, hello everybody, welcome to VRML Channel 2, and I'm Palidore. Got some matches for you tonight, at least one match right now, some more coming up later. Channel 1's also running at the moment, both channels featuring some Master Tier matchups, so wherever you are, you're in the right place and the right time. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I'm Palidore, we have New York Kings and the LA Skyline here in Cycle 2 facing off. New York Kings, of course, coming off of a very successful Cycle 1, 8-1. Only lost there against Ignite. 2-8 for LA Skyline, looking to start their cycle off the second half of the season. Better if they can, and hopefully, I mean, it's some tough competition, but as always on the Master Division, in the Master Division, it will be a tall task. Any given night, just the toughest of the tough, the top 1% of players here in Echo Arena. So on Channel 1 also, as I mentioned, there's another Master match going on right about now. That would be Ethereal versus Austin Burners. So we have two NEPA teams representing the NEPA organization playing on 1 and 2 between the Kings and the Burners. So it looks like on the side of Skyline, just waiting on one more player to enter the match. You see that 5-person roster here for Skyline. Caesar, JT Graham, A Platypus, Prometheus, and Klex. For New York Kings, the 4-player roster, Oculusator, Ender, Cruisin, and Strembitsky. Certainly for the Kings, a lot of expectation placed upon this team going into the season, and have been at the end, up until the Challenger Cup at the very least, was otherwise the highest viewed match of our season thus far, were the Kings versus Ignite. Reigning defending champions across the last few seasons of VRML in North America. That capped off around 275 viewers or so. Of course, Challenger Cup, though, we actually broke that, we believe, into the high 200s as well. Not low 300s at some point. So, either or, when you have master teams, you know you're going to get the best of the best action. Best of the best players. Knowing some of these players, also the funniest of the funny players. See Klex over here at the sidewall and Oculusator just brawling each other. But yeah, shout out to SG Skeptic here for 4 Kings and Ender. Ender very specifically. Of course, Ender a longtime player just as well as, well, a lot of these players obviously, but Ender one of those who's been playing all the way back to the ESL days. Now for Cruisin and Oculusator, not joining until that was just about over. I think, if memory does serve, I believe Cruisin came in perhaps in the final season of ESL back in 2019, summer 2019. May have been there in that 3rd season of ESL. I think he was. For Oculusator, though, definitely a veteran since the very beginning, 4 years now. Although, as far as I recall, didn't get too heavy into competitive play until VRML came along. Started off in preseason or Season 1 with the Skull Crusaders. That was a bronze, silver, / gold team. They kind of started off, from what I recall, at bronze. They worked their way all the way up to that gold division by the end of it. Of course, in the later seasons, that's when Diamond and now Platinum came along. But definitely players who have experienced that rise up the ranks, up the ladder. I talk about it all the time, where the teams in the High Diamond division right now, or the teams in Master right now, a lot of those players, it was only months or 1 to 2 years ago, they were in that ladder climbing up those ranks. It's not like these people really started here, at least not all of them. Certainly for the side of the Skyline, now this is a team as a whole, their roster, full of players who had not been there in the ESL days competing necessarily, and just recently here in the this past season making it into the top of the top divisions in the Master Tier. So you love to see that new blood, for sure. Now, meanwhile, Strembitsky, I think, probably among all of the players that will be in this match, probably, yeah, the longest tenured player in terms of being at that master level ever since Season 2 of ESL in 2018. So pretty much a staple of the competitive scene, whether it be in ESL, VRML, or Pizza League, pretty much everywhere. Strembitsky is present. It is indeed a gift. Smooth right in, ask it. Isn't Strem always technically Stremmen? Well, it is slash was his namesake, although it wasn't something he did much or often. It just happened to be he kind of discovered it in a sense, but he also stopped it rather quickly. I still recall the conversations that happened at the time. So yeah, it was something discovered by him, kind of his namesake, a long time ago. But he quit it rather quickly once he gauged the opinions of everyone else, saying, "Hey, well, what do you guys think of this? Is this kind of exploitative?" And in unison, in harmony, all the players, the master players of that time, a few years back, were like, "Yeah, it's exploitative." And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, no more." And that was that. Of course, did tend to, well, continue, live on, I suppose, in some sections of the Echo scene and pubs and whatnot. But of course, against the rules now these days, so. That said, yeah, he stopped it instantly. Yeah, I remember the conversation like as it happened live. It was kind of funny. Meant no harm about it, but it was just one of those situations where it's like, okay, this is untreaded territory. What do you guys think? Stop it. Okay. That was how it went. But yeah, Spinning Striker in there saying I played with Platypus and Oculusator. And yeah, two players. I mean, it applies to all of them really, but when you have these players at the master level, always an interesting thing. Getting to play with them, learn from them, or if nothing else, just watch them do their thing. Definitely a big load there to handle if you're defending against any of these players. Well, that said, it looks like over on Channel 1, Ethereal and Austin Burners should be playing right about now. We are still actually waiting on one player for Skyline here, as you can tell, so. But yeah, checking on the Channel 1 real quick, Austin Burners Ethereal has started. About 4 minutes in, 4-3 in their favor. I assume a lot of the time people who visit these streams, like I bet Smooth Ride has both streams up at once, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's being casted right now by Doc Education, Nightfire, and Wonder on the cams. So, got your options, for sure. I will be casting a lot more matches later on. Whether it's on Channel 1 or 2 kind of depends on things, how delays go and whatnot, but regardless, I'll be casting probably another 3-4 matches later on tonight, so you got some stuff to look forward to. Eclipse versus Gravity. Here's a name I haven't heard in a very long time. Not Gravity, they still exist, of course. Eclipse. The good old team in the good old days, although I still call these days the good old days, because in the grand scheme of things, these first 4 years of Echo Arena, in a game that I have no doubts is going to be lasting decades in some shape or form, or sequels or what have you, these are still the good old days, you know? But yeah, fun times, fun times. Still have, where is it? Somewhere around here. Still have some of the old mementos from those occasions. But you know what? My most prized possession, perhaps, of all, from all the Echo lands of old? I'll show it to you. Hold on, it's a bit dusty. Let me wipe it off here. Okay. Echo Arena branded fidget spinner. That was from Oculus Connect 4, I think. Yeah, pretty sure this was Oculus Connect 4. All the things that I have won, or have gotten. This is the prize right there. Actually, this is going right into the Season 4 prize pool for VRML, confirmed. Anyway, not really. But we do have 4 players. Prometheus is in the match now, so we're about to go, it looks like. Cool. Ooh, saying new merch at the next LAN, just a rumor. Always look forward to merch. My collection is ever growing. Got those night shirts, the VRWare shirts, my Team Gravity jersey. I have an old Joker shirt, Redshift shirt. I'm all about the merch. Collector's items, don't you know? At least to me. So, round 1, about to start now, so thanks for your patience. We're off and to the races. Fun. Just took a little bit extra to get going on it. So the LA Skyline on the left side, or right side for blue team, Caesar, Klex, A Platypus, and Prometheus. Meanwhile, for the New York Kings, it's Strembitsky, Oculusator, Cruisin', and Ender. Here on orange side, and as I say that, they do have the disc, although letting it loose, as that will sail into the bubble, taken by Strem. Strem on the immediate fling, but Caesar was there in time to save it. Great grab from Caesar, Klex getting stunned, but all the meanwhile, an interception at the deep end of the floor by Cruisin', who finds Oculusator for another attempt on offense. Now into the goal again, A Platypus diving out there with a pickoff. Oculusator contested by Caesar, trying not to get too baited and stunned out. Would definitely be a bad thing to be left too far behind, as now Klex playing some nice defense, and that will be ejected back to orange side. Speedily down the floor, there with a second to spare was Oculusator. Moving it up the lane as Prometheus right on him. As you can see though, when they're diving on these QBs, they're trying very purposely not to get too stunned or anything like that. They're pressuring, but they're not getting so close that they're at risk of stuns. That said, at risk of a 3, a slap away Oculusator as he floated into the goal. A great save. Take back by Platypus. Holding pretty strong here. An open goal. Could have gotten on the board first for Skyline. But getting a bit hectic on the midline. So impressed with the defense, certainly from Skyline. Very well disciplined, and they're denying New York Kings' ability to score so far. Now, will that maintain? We shall see. But definitely the start that they wanted, at least in terms of defense. If they can get some more offense going, that would be very pertinent here. Because with Kings not able to get off to that immediate, quick scoring start, I mean, this is a really heavy team in terms of being able to pop off on offense. You definitely want to take advantage of that if you're a Skyline. So see if they can. That bounces into a recovery, well read by Oculusator, the bookworm that he is. Maybe not, I'm not really sure, but well read regardless. Of course, Oculusator dominant on offense. Strembitsky even better there with the backboarded shots. My goodness, the good touch, and that was perfectly placed. So that's exactly what I'm saying, right? You don't punish the initial misses on Kings. They're going to score eventually, and now Skyline will be down 3 as a result, but offensive joust first time here in the first round. Ending saying you have a VRML match later? Cool, good luck. Who you playing, by the by? Will be Caesar with a dive into the goal, but just picked by Strem, I believe that was. Sends it to the midfield. Cruisin' taking 1 and 2, leeches off, just tap boost. Less of a tap from Ender, more of a big stun. But Klex taking that disc back, and there's already a defender in the goal. That's Strembitsky back there. Of course, Strem, a long time from the early days, definitely a goalkeeper, known as a goalkeeper, but very quickly became known as even more of a striker, but can do a little bit of it all, a lot bit of it all, as a matter of fact. Meanwhile, Klex getting that disc back. Now, as I said, it's really cool to see a team like Skyline here in the Master Division. I know they had a little bit of a rough going of it in the first cycle. Weren't able to capture a ton of wins, but as we saw with Anomaly, for instance, hold on, another shot off that backboard, just a quick juke, and Strembitsky getting fancy with it. 5 points. But going back to the Cycle 1 Challengers Cup just a weekend ago, we saw, Anomaly was another one of those teams where, yeah, they weren't getting it going too much in the win department in the first cycle against the other Master teams, and yet they went into the Challengers Cup, absolutely killed it. They had some amazing matches and some clutch plays to stay in Master Division. So even though Skyline, they were also having a bit of a hard time among this top 1% of players in North America, and in the league for that matter, that is not to be mistaken for their ability or lack thereof, right? They have skills in bunches, rest assured. And that said, a deep fling off that barrier, rebound by Oculusator. And yeah, for Skyline, they are a team who comparatively much newer to the scene and much newer to Master Division. Ender, much more veteranship there on the calm drive, assisted by Oculusator on the cross. Halfway through the round, 7 points up for New York Kings.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Iced out monkey shouting out, sheesh. And off this first release on that joust, it's a quicker release from Oculus Satyr, and good grief, Oculus Satyr from the midline, the equator, and 10 points up on the score.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Meanwhile, checking in over on VRML 1, just to keep you guys up to date if you happen to not be watching both streams at once for some reason. Looks like Ethereal won that first round, 13-10. Second round is just beginning right now on Channel 1. With that, on Channel 2 here, always appreciate you guys for joining me. And they will be in the goal for the first two, joining together on the goalkeeper. There were about 3 different players, 2 or 3 players all piled in the same zone. Makes it very hard to read that and to save it. See, just all kind of converging at once, a couple of them, a lot of bodies in the way, so even the friendly bodies, it just makes it a little bit tougher to get a read on the disc or to get a save even if you can, just because of all the body blocking. Now, Strem on the quick launch. Ender and Strem, they're cutting on in. 4 players, though, contesting them, so Ender will opt for the smart play and back it out. I like that discipline from the Kings, looking for a higher percentage play. Knowing that maybe they could have gotten that 2v4, but having even more confidence in being able to do just that. Oculus Satyr, the precision bounce off that left pocket. Up by 10 once more.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Let's hear a classic Pally sheesh. I don't think there's such a thing as a classic Pally sheesh. It's not something that I really say. I think I'm too much of a boomer. I don't know. But sheesh! Let's see if Ender can get this shot off as he gets it to Oculus Satyr. This is 4-on-2. The rest of the defenders joining and actually right in time. So nice drive, but even better comeback from Klex and Co. Able to get back into the goal and steal that, save it, maybe even get some points back on the board. Stacks, however, looming, so they'll also do the wise thing and reset. Although, Oculus Satyr pulling off his teammate's move. The Ender, they are in a groove, as it will be grabbed by the aforementioned, and need I mention, it's an open goal turned into a 3 by Ender. Like that one smooth, huh? Yeah? Good. I was half and half on whether my voice would crack attempting it or not. Proud to report, it did not. Skyline with the disc, though. Prometheus on this joust, trying to evade Ender. Sending it to Strembitsky, who does get stunned. Some good defense from Caesar, trying to contest that, but the slap over and out. Roger that. Ender again, 18-2 for Kings. Skeptic in the chat, liking that one as well.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So with that, Skyline falling behind here to the mountain of a task that is trying to take down this Kings team, who otherwise the only match they have lost so far in the season was against Ignite several weeks ago. If not, actually, I think it was in week 2, so been a little while. The Kings have been feeling quite in a mid-season groove, and something that every other team that goes against them, they're going to want to stop. Because this team is certainly looking to be one that's going to go very, very far into the finals, as Caesar acquires their 4th point. Seizes that. And a little drought, but they're back on the score sheet.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Start using stuff from back in our day, like dope or sick. You know, the thing is, I was always kind of an old soul, so even when I was like in elementary, junior high, high school, all that stuff, I really didn't use most of the slang that everyone else did. I was a boomer at age 13, unfortunately. That said, that's Ender. Good fortune for the 20th point. They are continuing their good groove. Up 16. It was indeed the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, the peanut's butter, and the fly's flutter. Something like that. That was never said, not even once. But it was totally radical, dude. It was so bad. It was so mad. Oculus Satyr, though, with a good grab. So over to Ender. Ender working up that floor again. They have Strembitsky left lane. They could push this if they want. I think opting maybe to take the last shot indeed. So you see the heady plays here taken by Oculus Satyr now, Ender, everyone on the Kings. Gotta point that out because, look, they did have They did technically have a 2-on-1. It looked like on the initial approach, Ender and Oculusator, or sorry, Ender and Strembitsky, but they actually hesitated a few extra seconds. And why? So they could wait for Oculusator to still get a numbers advantage, but more importantly, take the last shot and not give any time for Skyline to get on the board once more. Definitely don't want to end a win allowing the opposite team to feel good on a score. So it's those subtle things. It makes a difference, though, let me tell you. They're playing very smartly here. On the side of the Skyline players, not to beat the dead horse, because I know I say it a lot, but it's not... Master Tier is tough, okay? They played very, very well. I was impressed by their defense, especially opening it up. They were able to get back efficiently on their stacks to contest the Kings players on the offense a lot of the time. They knocked those discs loose a lot of the time. They had several attempts at the goal, even some open ones, that they just weren't able to capitalize on in that early game. And, once the Kings got their rhythm, they kind of did what they tend to do. But still, Skyline showing their defensive chops. The offense is one thing they want to try and break through. It's a tough shell to crack, though, when you're going against that kind of defense on the Kings as well, because they're as fast and as aggressive as anyone. So, with that, let's see. Platypus was one of the first VRML players that I played with when I started. Yeah, Platypus, another fantastic player, and perhaps comparatively, well, maybe not. I was going to say, perhaps maybe one of the more veteran players on the roster, but at the same time, all these players, for the most part, when you compare it to the 3- and 4-year-old players that exist on the Kings, I mean, it's that newer blood. And that's it, Oculusator with a very casual joust. Apologies for actually missing the midfield joust there. I distracted myself talking, but nonetheless, the disc going the way of Kings on that one. And they will capitalize on the first 2 points. Twitch chat, good luck to Whispers, heading over to practice. All right, cool stuff. Good luck, have fun, and see you again hopefully soon. So, on this joust, Platypus back to the midfield. Flex with Oculusator nearby, but we'll send it down. Caesar with that disc, moving on up, and Klex trying to volleyball slap it, but even then, just not enough time to work with, thanks to the stuns from Kings. Taking back, Strembitsky trying to fling it over. Flex, though, sending it out of there. Now Caesar with that disc, lining up the one-on-one, and they will tie it up at 2 apiece. Well executed, taking advantage of the defense, who for the most part was out of bubble minus that goalie. I think Klex, I'm trying to recall here, I want to say Klex was, like, his first season was probably season 2, right? Wasn't Klex on Gold Diggers, I want to say? That said, making a play there, a jump and then a duck, and finding it through 3 different defenders. Ender saying it doesn't matter. Anti-gravity and anti-matter. He'll get where he wants to go.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Caesar, of course, playing on one team that had quite a lot of really entertaining casts, just personally speaking, with Aurora last season. Definitely enjoyed those casts, but finding himself here with Skyline and still trying to get some offense going right back at them in the second round. Much like the first, the opening minutes, it's not like the Kings are scoring at will or scoring a lot. So a similar beginning to this round, and just to reiterate what I said 10 minutes ago, Skyline really want to be able to push this and punish this slower start from the Kings. Because otherwise, they're going to get it going pretty soon. So Oculusator, fling just reverse style. Unfortunately for him, there was a goalie in the zone. So a Platypus on this push up the floor. They have a chance to tie it up or take a lead, depending on how fast they play this one, how aggressively. There's Klex from a pass to the Skyline, and Prometheus fire in the hole. 4 apiece. Nice work from Skyline.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Another little update as well. Looks like on Channel 1, Round 3, probably going to happen there. Austin Burners 19-10. So Burners and Ethereal may be going to Round 3 there quite soon. Meanwhile, this one, the second round, still early on, as it will be a shot right on the money. Strembitsky saying no. I put the sky in Skyline. Bit by bit. That's Strem.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
A 2-point advantage, but still yet. Close differential, a near turnover in that midline. The defensive stack misreading, so this is going to enable the one-on-one at goal. Oh, right underneath the feet, though. Couldn't line it up as well as they wanted, so this will be a much tougher offensive stand. Can they get it? Yes, they can! Caesar exploded into that goal like C4, and it is 6 up. How about it? Say six apiece. I've kind of realized lately I use it too interchangeably, because I'm playing pickup games of basketball or something at the park. You kind of say 6 up, as in one team is just 6 on the board, but also sometimes it means tied. It gets confusing. Anyways, Ender with a push on the floor, that really aggressive fake, and well, a Platypus was helpless but to watch, as Platypus was stunned out. Ender just figuring, hey, if I don't need to expend a bunch of extra energy, then I guess I won't. Back up by 2, though, halfway through this round now. Well, Skyline, they've been right up in it at this point. I think the longer that the round goes on, the more difficult it will be if they cannot pull ahead here and get a little bit of a buffer, right? And put the Kings on the disadvantage, which is a rarer thing for them. So if you can put them in that position, it would definitely be a good sign of maybe forcing a third round. But as I said, the longer it goes into these 50-50s and kind of chaos on the floor, I feel like that the more that it does favor the Kings. Because it's really tough to stop them for too long, oftentimes. And there's Oculus Satyr looking for one extra dime, I believe. Does have some angles, but man, all the dances in the world. The footwork and the handiwork, though, from Prometheus gives it right back to Oculus Satyr. And Caesar, another good save. Defense is intense, and down that floor they go. They might have some advantage here on the numbers, but recovers. Oculus Satyr double KOing with Prometheus, and that's enough to force a turnover. But the midfielder, though, Platypus, able to get it right back to Klex. Klex sending it cutways to Platypus, but it'll be Strembitsky putting that on layaway and back into the blue. So it's a matter of stacks, as a matter of fact. All 3 players getting on back. It's Klex with the disc first, Platypus in the goal, and trying to break apart that stack. Good job by Klex and Platypus. Well, yet again, this is going to enable perhaps some numbers opportunities. Skyline, they really need to capitalize fast. Get those passes in. Maybe one more, and slowly on the score. Cruisin was stunned out. Credit to Klex. They will tie it up. And we're approaching the last few minutes of this round now. Skyline really hanging in there and could be in a great position to maybe cause an upset in this second round at least. Cruising with that disc up to Ender, mid-zone. Stack doing a good job to stay latched together and get those regrabs in tow. But short order Stack and pass off to Oculus Satyr and right down the middle. I guess more so right down the right. But nonetheless, finding the lane and a walk and goal essentially. Able to creep right into the 6-meter area and pop off. They're back up by 2 points. 3 minutes in round 2 remaining. Torque in the chat saying give a Skyline credit. Absolutely. They are playing phenomenally here in this match, and especially in the second round. Now, we saw little bits and pieces of that in round 1, those opening minutes where Skyline was definitely holding off Kings for a while. And now they're holding down for a 1-point lead. Klex from 14 meters in. And a 16-meter fling gets it right past the defender. They claim a lead by a hair. This is why I say every single time, every single day, as we do get a timeout initiated there. No doubt a tactical one, perhaps, to freeze the team. Although an unpause immediately, so I'm not sure. Whatever the case, though, yeah, full credit to Skyline. They are holding in there and showing why I always say that on any given day, on any given round, in the Master Division, you can and you will see upsets at times, or at least potential for it, because that's how good these teams are. That's kind of the blessing and the curse of Master Division. You get the highest visibility, and You deserve it. But at the same time, you almost have to be at 100%. 100% of the time, basically. And if you're not another team in the Master Division, they will come in and they will cause some upsets and they will give you some stress and anxiety over it. So, hey, the beauty of competition these days, as Caesar will take it away. They are ahead by that narrowest 1 point. Those stacks prepare to get into the tunnel. The stacks prepared to grab the disc. The stacks prepared to shoot that bouncer, but no, sir. It's off just by a small margin, bouncing off that boot, that root. Caesar finding that disc, getting it over to Klex. Klex checking up high to Platypus. Platypus with one crossover down below. Klex taking it back. The open goal. They're up by 3. Skyline now in much better position. Could the third round be on the way? And the question is for the New York Kings with 1 minute remaining. Are they going to opt for a quick pair of twos? Or are they going to try and just go for the 3-point play, force that overtime? We shall see. Turnover, however, to Prometheus. Prometheus now sending it over to that tunnel. Platypus coming out of that platypult, I guess, will be Caesar down that line. Now into that goal that will bounce very, very close. Klex with cruising, but got baited into the stun, so a miscue there. But Klex and Prometheus, they will come out of the stuns around the same time and have an opportunity back at the goal. The thing is here, no 3-pointers can go in. If it does, that would be devastating. So definitely for Skyline, if they want to play those aggressive double stacks, they best be quick to latch on and get back into that goal. No 3-pointers at all. At this point, they need someone in that goal. Absolutely. So there we go. They have a chance now for a tie. Nothing else. It will be Strambitsky winding it in, sending it over to Oculusator coming out of the sun, but that's going to sail into the trap. So with 5 seconds left, barring a Hail Mary play, there's the hail, and could they get that goal? No, it's denied. Prometheus and 13-10. It's going to go to a third round. Skyline, stellar. Went and gave a heads up to the O's in VRML 1 just to let them know there's stuff going on. But of course, round 3 is happening over on VRML 1 as well. Round 3, that is, on Austin Burners versus Ethereal. A 6-point lead for them at the moment. So, hey, both master matches. Masterfully competitive. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, so with that, folks, like I said, this is why I always say, whatever you are, wherever you are, whichever channel, live or in VOD, you're always in the right place in the right time, because VRML is all about competition, and competition is good. Life is good. This match is sending me for a spin, so much so, sending me for a fidget spin. Echo style. You guys jealous? I would be if I were you. My prized possession. That said, this has been I guess a prize of a game. I was about to say surprise, but again, not really. Not really. An upset in that round, yes, but any team in Master can do this. I am confident in that. Any team in Master has this capability of upsetting higher seeds, just flat out. So we've seen it happen. We'll see if it continues, though. The Kings definitely need to get themselves on a great start. Because rounds 1 and 2, they were both slower starts for the Kings. They were not able to score very much in those first 2, 3, 4 minutes of rounds 1 and 2. So a score here would be great, and indeed it is. Strambitsky glad to take that first advantage.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Well, with that, it's up to the chat. Avoid asking what happened. Well, I don't know. Skyline happened. Master tier happened. No, they played well. They won by, what was it, 5 points, I believe? Or no, 3 points. And they just went goal for goal, essentially, for most of round 2 with the Kings. And caused a lot of turnovers, had some good defense. You know, little bit of a reversal from what we saw in round 1, where it was heavily in the Kings' favor. That said, Ender with a disc here on this approach, trying to hit Oculusator, and Oculusator getting stopped, and will quickly be left in that dust, although a lot of brawls happening on that field. So this is going to enable cruising, like 4 seconds, which in Echo Arena is an eternity, especially at Master level. to collect that disc, but Skyline, they are not quitting whatsoever. They have another opportunity here. Caesar is going to walk this up the floor, bouncing it to Prometheus. Prometheus with one final fling, but collects just beyond the reach. That could have given them the tie once again. And as I said, the longer this match goes on, I do feel the more advantage goes to New York Kings, just based on history and their ability to warm up into the mix. But that said, LA Skyline have been showing they have got the moxie, they have got the stuff, and it's not by proxy. That's why they're in Master. That said, leaving the goal, oh, that risk will not be punished. That could have been terrible for the Skyline players to go down 5-0 based off of a maybe too eager of a dive. But Oculus Satyr finding the pass to Ender. Oh, Prometheus getting stunned there again. I think that's one thing that got to watch out, certainly against Ender and Oculus Satyr. They are two players who absolutely bait you all day into those stuns. So I would just forget about it. Go for the leeches instead, or try to bother the disc, grab the disc, get a boost off of them, but those stuns are a risk, and at risk for a goal, but no, it's off on the ding. So continuing here for Kings to kind of struggle in this early round. It's been the case in all three, not able to get some of those points that they're used to getting. And as I say that, that's going to enable maybe the shot, underarming it. Oh, but Oculus Satyr is there already, taking it back though, Platypus, and they will in fact tie it up. So credit to Skyline. They have been able to really not only force mistakes, but just also punish the mistakes that are happening. Now, Kings are just not in quite that same offensive rhythm, and that's because they've been met with so many great steals, saves, and stuns. Well, oftentimes when they're getting to these bubbles, so they're not really finding the avenues that they're used to getting as often. Cruz in here from that back line, though, will leave one of the defenders in the dust, so they've got numbers advantage now. I talked about those brawls being a factor, and there is Strembitsky, always a factor from behind, and we'll go up by 2 points as a result.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8.
It's up to Whoosh and Nate Appleton as well, and Ivan Thrive, Jack G, Steel Skydiver, and JL Graham, as well as Soggy Budding Snags. What's up? What's up? Happy to have you guys here. Thanks for supporting and keeping us all company, as, I mean, you are in some great company on this channel. With some master players doing some master work. It's been a slobber knocker of a match so far. The rhythm, honestly, for both teams has not been what I would usually expect in terms of that offensive smoothness and efficiency. But, it's going to be the name of the game sometimes. This third round it's going to be one of those ugly games, and I mean that in a good way, just in terms of it's going to be brawl heavy, it's going to be steel heavy, it's going to be these big grinded out type of plays, and sometimes it gets like that. And just like that, it's Oculus Satyr with a 2-point hit. They're up by 4. Meanwhile, on Channel 1, looks like indeed that match is over in 3 rounds. It was Austin Burners able to complete a reverse sweep. Very interesting. So, Austin Burners now taking that win. But Ethereal, again, they are right up there as well. One of those teams that you can expect on any given day will take some matches. That would have been a stellar hit from way deep down, but alas, it will be taken back by Strambitsky. So, deep heave off that side wall. Goal is open for the meantime, and Strembitsky down there, the last person you want facing an open goal if you're the opposite team. Meanwhile, though, Oculus Satyr, much the same, being bothered by Caesar and Ender now on this approach. They've got some advantage, and they will take full advantage again. New York Kings doing a very smart thing. Now that they've had a couple of goals lead, you see they're dragging out the Skyline players into the midfield, and regardless of how those brawls go, the point is they're forcing Skyline to play their game and to play into the midfield, and when they do, one pass executed into the bubble for the Kings, and they've got themselves a nice number situation where it's only 2-on-2 or something of the sort, right? Anytime you have less than 4 defenders in the bubble, I consider that a numbers advantage for the offense. But with that, another turnover here and maybe about to peel away. New York Kings starting to find that calmness and starting to find that positioning a bit better. There it is, and wow, that was an immense goal. Cruising, putting in some nice moves. A bit of a reversal, a pirouette before the overhead fling. Look at this. Boom, boom, and bang. Super cleanly executed, as Graham says in the chat. It was nice. Down by 8 points now. Are the Skyline players. This quick joust might get them some opportunities, although might have been too fast for their own liking. They will get the disc back. Too much sauce on the pass, and it misses a few hands before it's Ender able to send that trench. Could it be? Just barely missing. A rebound there on the boots by Platypus. Now, as that one sails over to Oculusator. Oculusator bothered by Klex, but again, those numbers advantages I talked about. You know, not enough defenders in the goal. Diving out, missing the initial grab though. A Platypus able to get it back, setting it into the midfield. If they can get a goal here, they can still be in decent position for maybe a comeback in this round. They've got 2:45 left. Another score though for the Kings, and that might be bordering on what you would say early game, potentially. An early GG, just depends. But because of King's ability to stall it out and drag the defense out, 2.5 minutes is more like 1 minute almost if the Kings get possession, because they will just drag this one out and really force Skyline's hand in the midfield. Now with that, a catch down below by Strembitsky, and knowing the situation, seeing the stat coming up, a very calm pass in the heat of the traffic, and Strem putting it home. Up by 10 for Stremboodles, and they are in pretty decent position now, as I said, to probably pull this one away. But Skyline, they have put up a tremendous fight, without a doubt. Shout out to VRML1 rating in from that master match, Ethereal versus Austin Burners on Channel 1, ending a few minutes ago. Glad to have you here. As you can see, we are indeed in round 3 between Kings and Skyline. The first round, story was kind of a, well, runaway round for the most part from the Kings. Round 2, it was basically just goal for goal between the two teams until the very end. It was a 3-point victory in round 2 for the Skyline players. The other kind of notable thing in these 3 rounds is for each round, 1, 2, and 3, the Kings got off to a bit of a slow start in terms of those first 3-4 minutes, not really able to score that much. But indeed, turning up the heat the later you go into the round, which is kind of something you expect, right? Not to be, not players to be held for very long. And Strem just picking it off, eyeing down Klex for an extra second, saying, "What up?" We're up 14 off that dunk.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7.
So yeah, super entertaining game. You know, New York Kings, they were able to close business by the end, but just kind of a healthy reminder, I think, for these teams as another 3 goes in. 19 strong. Strembitsky starting to heat up. Shouldn't even say starting. Definitely hot at this point already, but you know, we've seen it with teams like, you know, over in Europe. We've seen Team Gravity. They've lost a couple games here and there. You know, Leviathan over on OCE, they've lost a round and a game at some point, although they were one regular roster member down, but that's beside the point. We've seen it here with Ignite. They've nearly dropped around against the Kings. They did drop around against the Austin Burners. Then the Kings, who are looked at as one of the top contenders this season for championship chasing. Same kind of thing, you know, they have now dropped around against a team that they were favored against. So anytime if these master level players are not 100%, upsets will happen, and that's a great thing, at least for the spectator. Stressful for the players. But yeah, as chat there says, and Whoosh says, only so much you can do against the Kings. And that was kind of my feeling, you know. I was thrilled to see Skyline take that second round, and if they got off to a good start in round 3, they could have definitely, you know, pushed an upset here potentially. But I was kind of thinking in round 2 and round 3, the longer that Skyline was not able to punish consistently on Kings' mistakes, or the mistakes that were being forced, the more and more likely that Kings were going to be able to bounce back by the end of the round. It's so tough to hold them down for that long. So tough. But it was well fought. So, you know, cheers to them for a great match. Definitely showed up. Stats probably a little broken, yeah. Apologies for that. It's been a bit of a case this last week, it seems like. Not quite sure what caused it. Trying to I know Ignite's trying to work on fixing that, so bear with us on that. But appreciate nonetheless the patience as well as the overlays. Seems like it's third rounds that break the stats. I'm not sure why. Anyway, that aside, yeah, no, not 21 saves. Don't worry. Don't worry. That would be crazy though. So just to give you guys an update, I'm gonna look at the schedule real quick because I am streaming some more matches. What channel it is though depends. Let me see. Okay, yeah, so it looks like, as far as I know, nothing else was taken on 1. So in about 12 minutes, I will be switching over to channel 1 here. And I will be casting, let's see, Rice Baby versus Average Joe's. That is a gold division match. We'll have Tachyons versus There Is No Practice. That is a platinum match. Immediately following that one. We may, depending on time, have Suzaku versus Team Vandal. Another 30 minutes after that, also a platinum match. And then even later in the night, we may have Attached versus Final Frontier. Waiting on some updates from some of those players. And then at the end of the night, 11 p.m. Pacific time, 2 a.m. Eastern, so any night owls there. We'll have Invictus versus Leviathan, the OCE chance versus another very strong team in Invictus in the Diamond Division for OCE. So yeah, you got plenty of stuff to come. I will be on Channel 1 from here on out. So closing out this stream, shout out to you guys here in the stream. Green, I'm Palidore, by the by. And this is my Echo Arena fidget spinner. It's been showing it off because I can. D-Foot, Ender. I know, I'm sorry about the scoreboard, Ender. Round 3s lately have been messing up the stats, like doubling up the stats for some reason. We're working on it. Rowdy Artifact as well. D-Foot on the aforementioned Invictus team, by the by. Smooth riding, we're killing it. All right, well, we're good to go. Okay, so Channel 1, 10 minutes from now, join me again. I've been Palidore. This is VRML. Be happy, healthy, safe. Be excellent to each other, and I'm going to see you again pretty soon, I do hope. Or my name is not Ender.
And we're underway.
Season 4 of VRML Echo Arena is brought to you by HyperX, Asterion Products, VRware, Rebuff Reality, VR Cover, and ProTube VR.